So, Gareth, we're going to be on tour.
I'm not available for that.
Did you not?
I can't make it.
The Dollop is going on tour.
I didn't. Let me see what I can do. I'll see what I can do, but I can't promise that I'll be at every show. But I'm excited for you. Let's go back to the roots.
So we're going out for
move a closet on stage. You get in it and just scream like quiz show.
A little over a week in March, starting on March 16th. We head to Tempe, Arizona. Then we go to Albuquerque, New Mexico. We just added a second show, which is going to be a best of. We're going to take a topic from 10 years ago and one of your favorites and read it. And we will have new reactions because we don't remember it.
Yep. It's really a luxury of this show.
Yeah, so that's the second show in Albuquerque. And then we're going to go to Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Dallas, Houston, and then Austin. And then in June, starting on June 3rd, we'll be at the Sacramento Punchline. Then we'll be in Boise, Idaho, Spokane, Seattle, Portland, Bend, and San Francisco. That's California, not the other one. And you can get the tickets at dollarpodcast.com/tour.
June tour I'm in for.
You're not helpful.
I'm definitely in for that one. By the way, when I was at Cap City, the manager, the great Chandy, was saying that maybe we should add a second show there. So
in the Cap?
In the Cap.
But we're doing like an afternoon show. When would the second show be?
I'm really looking to transition to breakfast performance. So I would love to do brunch stuff.
So this is Edgar Allan Poe Part 2. When we left him,
is this a two-parter or more?
It's just two.
Okay.
When we left him, people started to realize that he's not so great with the drinking and the carrying on. And so he's trying to rebuild his reputation. He's writing things that are very popular, but he's making no money because there's no copyright laws or anything.
Right.
So he's poor and well known and also known as a drunk.
Right. And out of control, really.
Out of control, yeah.
Yeah.
So Edgar wrote The Mystery of Marie Roget, an installment on his detective series, very popular detective series.
Right.
The stories helped boost his rep as a great American storyteller. And he made business friends who admired his talent. Just checking that's on. One was Rufus Griswold. You know.
Oh, love his.
That's enough.
Thank you.
He's a very fashionable man.
Yes, he's a bit of a
networker.
Absolutely.
Griswold had just left his job at the New York Tribune. He was an editor, and he was putting together a poet anthology.
This could be good for our boy, assuming he can not drink.
Edgar submitted 3 poems. The drinking doesn't seem to affect his writing at all. He just cranks them out.
Edgar Allan poems. Did he ever think of doing that? Do you have anything on your flat computer?
Let's just say you know how upset I am that you finally stumbled across that.
Check your computer.
Griswold published them near the back. So he publishes Edgar's near the back of the anthology.
Yeah.
And he gives more room to poets who are friends, but they're not that good.
Edgar's poems?
No,
the ones that he's normally
Edgar's are in the back of the anthology, and Griswold's buddies get the front.
But they're not good. So people are actually making it to the back.
Maybe.
It's very strange to imagine an era where people are consuming that much poetry.
It really is. Yeah. The anthology also featured New England poets heavily, and Griswold is from New England. So again, his buddies. Edgar's offended. Edgar's from the South. He's like, where are my Southern bros?
Well, he also seems to have a very short fuse in general.
Yeah.
He's like the Michael Jordan of poems. He's like, you don't need to do much and he will find bulletin board material.
I still haven't seen the thing.
What? The Last Dance? Yeah. That's just criminal.
Have you seen Dune 1 and 2? That's criminal.
I saw the first one and that was criminal. The editor should be in jail. Did he even cut anything? It's insane. They should make a movie about me watching Dune, and it should be called Dune 3, and it's my struggle to sit there and watch the first 2 Dunes. Have you ever seen Dune or My Car? Don't even bother reacting. It's not worth it.
God. So Griswold is not a big fan of Edgar the person.
Okay.
Especially after reading his review of the anthology.
Edgar's review of his own anthology.
Of Griswold's anthology.
Oh, Edgar's review of Griswold's anthology.
Griswold,
Not a real networker.
well, Griswold paid Edgar to write it.
And then Edgar, okay, can we just focus on the backbone he had for being honest about what he felt?
Well, Edgar was like, you're trying to bribe me.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, fuck you. And then now he's going to write a shitty review, even though I got paid to write a puff piece. He did write some nice things about it. But Griswold, and some nice things about Griswold, he said there were too many New England poets. He went after like the averageness of
Edgar said that.
Yeah, of the front end of the book. Griswold didn't want to print it, but Edgar, he didn't want to print it, but then he knew if he didn't print it, then Edgar would see how mad he was, so he didn't want to.
It's a little like, how do you handle Trump? You're just like, is it worth it?
So Griswold is then hired by Edgar's old boss at Graham's to be an editor. So that was the magazine he written for.
Yep.
And he got much more leeway than Edgar had, and he got a lot more money. So Edgar,
I know it. Edgar takes this in stride. He doesn't drink about it and is cool and moves on.
He's very jealous. He's very upset. So he gets his writer buddies to bully Griswold in their writing. So they are now comparing his editor talents to Edgar's and saying that Griswold is bad. And they're
how are they even conveying that? Just
in their writing. So they're all editors and stuff. So they're writing their own things.
It probably seemed a little calculated too.
I mean,
Griswold.
yeah, it had to have. And they were using. He made up names for him like Rumpus Grizzle or Rufal Grizzle.
Terrible.
It's very Trump.
Literally like when a kid tries to zing you and you're like, buddy, you're in with an adult brain here. You're not.
Go Grizz.
Yeah. You're just like, buddy, no.
It's not. One row.
By the way, most of my life is batting down nicknames from me.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I know you're sure.
How would I? What are you talking about?
Quiet.
Benji.
Stop.
One wrote, quote, we would give more for Edgar A. Poe's toenail than we would for Rufal Grizzle's soul.
So that is an attempt at he has more talent in his pinky than Rufus does in his whole body, but it's like a real kind of Tim Burton skew on it.
Yeah, it's a Tim Burton skew. Yeah. So Griswold's pissed.
Sure.
A friend described him as, quote, the most irritable and vindictive man I've ever met.
Griswold.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So this is, so we got a feud. We got a feud brewing.
Yeah. So they said he became savage when slighted.
Is it?
Little Dave Anthony here.
Yeah, okay. I was about to be like, this era is so weird with the male ego, but then you undercut. I can't do that now.
And Griswold had just found out he has tuberculosis, so he's like facing a slow death.
And he's like, I'll go down fighting.
So he's more irritable than normal, basically. Also, his wife just died. And he went into her vault a month after her death and kissed her rotting, quote, cold black forehead.
Who wrote it? Him? Oh my God. What is with these dudes not moving? Let it go. They're gone.
A friend found him the next day with his face resting on her head.
What? So a friend was like, Rufus? Who the hell is he? Rufus! And then like went in there and he's like, love you.
So Edgar,
we shouldn't.
We should. Oh my God, we are getting carried away.
We really shouldn't.
Oh,
you've passed away.
Look at how tight and black your skin is.
Baby, you're cold outside. I shouldn't kiss you. I died last week. I really have gone askew. Seriously, I died last week. Unbutton your top. Don't do it. I died last week. Oh, baby, I'm cold outside. I really should bang. Baby, I should get moving. Oh, let's bang. Baby, seriously, I'm not here. You're just hearing all this song. You're hearing a duet in your head. I feel deranged. Don't do it. Baby, you're cold inside. That's a Dean Martin necrophilia bit.
So Edgar starts a lecture tour in which Griswold is like the main topic.
So,
And again,
like
this
if you
is-
went to that, you'd be like, "Can you read some
What?
of your stuff?"
What's going on?
Rufus is also a dipshit for something he did 3.5 years ago.
Sorry, I mean Rufo.
Oh,
And this is all because he put his poems in the back of the book.
he put his palms in the
Poems.
back. Oh, poems. Yeah, right. Yeah,
In the back of the
yeah. No, he's
anthology.
just he's got a huge problem.
So the insults are fucking brutal
I can't wait.
in the lecture. And in 1844, Edgar moves to New York with Virginia and Muddy, looking for better opportunities, right?
Sure.
More in New York.
Sure.
And they rent part of a farmhouse on the outskirts of the city.
Never getting their own spot.
The other part of a farmhouse, not the whole thing, just
Just a
part,
little
a part of
spot.
it. I believe, if I recall correctly, the rest wasn't finished, or was that the
As-
last one?
So the last one was not finished.
Okay,
The lambs are. Did the lambs understand the property line of what we're renting?
no,
Oh, okay.
there will be lambs coming through the house
Let me talk to the
and
family.
some cows,
So apparently, the lambs don't understand where we're renting.
and there's some hippopotamuses because we are trying to get that going. So there's
Is this
some.
the right era?
Sure.
So I guess we're trying to switch from cow meat to hippo right now. And
Mhm,
so there'll be some hippos too
coming through.
coming through.
Also, a rhino, just one.
All right, I'm gonna actually.
He is for grazing. He keeps the grass at a lower level.
I feel like he should not be. It's New York in the winter.
And there's a pack of hyenas.
No, that's fine. That's fine with us.
They keep the predators out.
What's that, please? Oh, I should point out that Scar has killed Mufasa recently in the barn. So
How do you
there's-
know those names?
I'm just trying to think of the little one. What's the new one?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Simba?
Sure.
Simba.
Ah!
I don't know.
I'm proud of you.
Lion King was an enjoyable one.
Did you ever see the Broadway play?
No, but Julie Taymor directed it.
It's
I think.
fucking
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So
Have you ever watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory on LSD?
no.
I don't
Have
know
you
who-
ever watched Fritz the Cat on LSD? Not
He took
recommended.
acid?
He's a rapist.
Oh, whoa, oh!
Fritz the Cat is a fucking nightmare.
You don't mean Pepe Le Pew?
No, Fritz the Cat
Fritz
is
the Cat too.
is from the 70s, and it's about a bad cat, and it's a cartoon, and
Just-
it's not good. Don't recommend it.
Dudes were
on-
just writing stuff, being like,
Yeah.
"Hey, this cat likes to put his finger up a stranger lady cat's butt and sniff it, and that's fine."
So yeah, this farmhouse, they're still super poor. Sometimes they live on bread and molasses for weeks. It's all they have. And Edgar has to take journalistic work. So slice of life stories about the big city. And then this was all being published in small towns in Pennsylvania. So it's just like that schlocky,
Sure.
like, yeah,
It's like
not his deal.
right beneath him.
Yes. He eventually gets a job working for flamboyant editor of the Mirror, Nathaniel Parker Willis.
Okay,
Now, he didn't get the job himself. Muddy is his aunt. Muddy went to Willis's office job hunting for Edgar, telling people Edgar was sick and he couldn't do it himself.
oh, I thought that was like the selling point.
No.
You'll love him; he's really sick. So she's networking on his behalf
She's
because
trying
he's
to get a job on his
Right,
behalf because
right.
he's fucking drunk.
yeah, because he's out of control, living in a barn.
So Edgar and Willis like and respect each other. Edgar is sober. He says he'll be sober for the job.
And I feel like this
Totally
is the
gonna
one.
work.
This one's gonna take.
Totally going to work.
Yep.
As long as I'm Secretary of Defense, I'll be sober. Trust me.
Oh God, that shit.
Willis said Edgar had to sit, quote, in the
Don't
corner.
you kind of want to see a drunk Secretary of Defense?
I mean, it's
we've had the sober ones.
Yeah, let's do something.
I think the selling, like, I obviously am opposed to this guy being in charge of war,
Mm.
but the selling point of like we've never had someone that so many people have voted against to me is not. It's
It's
not
not
getting
good.
me. Yeah, it's
No.
not making me be like I'm not recoiling. I'm like, yeah, no, they're all no. Your approval doesn't make me think better of people.
So Willis said Edgar had to sit, quote, in the corner of the editorial room, ready to be called upon for any miscellaneous work of the moment, announcing news, answering correspondence, noticing amusements.
We need a breaking poem.
So he's like Twitter of the newsroom.
Right.
Like he's like a guy that just has to bang shit out really quick.
Yeah.
And yeah. Edgar told a friend, quote, I have reached a crisis in my life. After all the shit, he's finally reached a crisis.
Yeah.
Edgar then wrote a critique.
I mean, he's living in a barn that he doesn't fully have access to all of the barn with his older aunt, his child bride. He's an alcoholic who's writing poems that are undervalued that he's making no money for.
Well, they're valued. He's
right,
not
but he's making
money.
no money for them. And
I mean, that's enough. He drinks constantly.
Yeah.
So he writes a critique of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's new anthology of poems and accuses Longfellow of plagiarism, and he lashes out that he's not included in the anthology. So it's all about him not being included. You
gotta pick a lane.
He never does, though. He always starts with like his attack, and then he always throws in like, but my personal reason.
Very Trumpy.
Very Trumpy.
Yeah. She's the worst. Nobody likes her opinion. And by the way, nobody's governed better than I have.
Longfellow's friends and Edgar get into a print fight.
Great.
They're trading accusations about Longfellow's talent and character. And Edgar goes on another lecture tour, just railing against Longfellow.
Okay.
And saying others he thought don't deserve fame. And
what are his road
reputations.
numbers?
They're good.
They're good.
People, I mean, he's kind of a comedian in that way. Like people love his writing. They love his attacks. You know, he's like fucking Don Rickles, but a little more vicious. Like Don Rickles, you always knew was fake, but this guy, it's real.
Yeah, he's genuine.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice.
It adds to Edgar's fame in New York, especially. And then Willis publishes a poem. That's the guy who owns the guy who hired him.
Right.
He said it was, quote, unsurpassed in English poetry. It will stick to the memory of everyone who reads it.
That made Edgar happy.
No, it is Edgar's the Raven.
Edgar's the Raven.
Yeah, he publishes Edgar's the Raven.
Oh, wow.
Which is, I mean, everyone should know it, but if you don't, it's about a narrator visited one night by a raven who repeatedly croaks, nevermore. And the Raven is an instant hit across the country. Papers are going fucking crazy for it. It's being reprinted and reprinted. It's the perfect poem for reciting.
Right.
And Edgar loves that because he loves to be
it's got a chorus,
the center of attention.
Yeah, right.
And he gets to do it. He's often asked to do it. Edgar is invited now to meet important people. So he's moving up. He's moving up in a level because of the poem.
It's crazy.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's like having a hit song.
It is. And it's really weird to know why. I mean, I guess our brains have just changed, but like, obviously I'm familiar with that poem. And I mean, that was what like English class was when I was in middle school. I would just be like, why did like two roads diverged in a yellow wood? You know, I was like, all right. So like the guy hit a fork. All right. You know, but I mean, the way they'd break it down, I was like, I'm not equipped to understand why this is good.
Well, there isn't anything else. So the emphasis on words is huge. Yeah.
Even then, though, I mean, honestly, the Raven, I guess I would be like, I get that one more because of the repeatability of the Raven. Like, I understand that more. But like, to like Robert Frost, The Road Less Traveled, I was like,
okay. Yeah.
It's a pass from me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. It's not for people like yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Lowers.
What's your favorite poem?
Down.
What's your favorite
Rhyme of
poem?
the Ancient Mariner.
Oh, water everywhere, not a drop to drink.
Oh, really?
Huh? Suck it.
It was a perfect poem for reciting, which he was delighted to do. He's invited to meet important people. He's sometimes just introduced as the Raven. Kids.
That I would really lean into.
Yeah. He's like Rocky now because kids are following him around as he walks the streets.
Wow.
And they throw pebbles at his heels until he'd whip around
Different
and
than
yell,
Rocky.
and yell, nevermore. Like,
That had to get old.
I don't know.
That had to get old.
I think he loves it. I think he loves all of it.
Maybe. I mean, he's drunk and desperate.
Also still poor.
Still poor.
That hasn't changed. He leaves the mirror.
Ever poor.
He leaves the mirror to write for the Broadway Journal, and the deal was he'd get a third of the profits.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So he's writing reviews. He's still attacking Longfellow. He starts a fight in the Broadway Journal with Longfellow. It's one-sided. It is known as the Longfellow War, even though Longfellow is not responding.
Sure.
An anonymous letter is written in another magazine, and it is signed Autus.
Autus?
Autus.
Okay.
And in the letter, it dismisses the plagiarism charges and compares The Raven to another poem about a depressed lover being visited by a bird.
He's going to be fucking pissed.
So, yeah, he goes off. So over weeks, Edgar writes reply after reply to Otis, attacking Longfellow, over 50 pages, over 5 articles of response.
Yeah.
Otis says he's Longfellow's friend, but he also compliments Edgar, calling him one of America's best poets. Everybody's pretty certain that Otis was actually Edgar writing the critique of himself so that he could write back and forth arguing with himself
genius.
in the papers.
That is genius. If that's true, that is genius shit. Tony Clifton.
He did.
That is amazing.
That's a lot of people do that on Twitter. Jimmy Dore was doing that on Twitter and got caught.
I remember. Yeah. He said something from his account.
Yeah, he's responding.
Yeah.
Sometimes his Longfellow attacks took up half of the Broadway Journal.
I mean, if it's good, it's good.
Some say he's jealous of Longfellow's monetary success. Longfellow, he's the first American poet to make a lucrative career. Like, he's making money. One editor said Edgar's jealousy, quote, amounted to a mania, and he labored under the delusion that everyone was trying to slight him and underrate the value of his work.
Okay.
Longfellow never responds, ever to any of it at all, which must have made him more crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Edgar?
Yeah.
Yeah, without question.
Must have just made him, yeah.
Well, because then you're like, then you'll like write again. You'll be like, look, maybe I was out of line, but you really fucked. And then a no reply, that drives you crazy.
Yes.
The no reply drives you crazy.
Yeah. So Longfellow's just a very nice guy.
It would be great if back then, like when you wrote letters, someone could leave you on red. Like, because that's when you're like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, Longfellow's a very nice guy. He's very easygoing. He understands Edgar's frustration because he knows he's living in poverty and he's a great writer.
Right.
He said life was, quote, too precious to be wasted in street brawls.
Yeah, well, he's doing well.
So during this period of the one-sided fight, Edgar starts drinking again.
That might be the reason why he did it. He was like, this will give me a good reason.
Yeah. One day he comes into work and he has to be held up by a friend to get through the door.
Physically.
Yes. He claimed to be bedridden to get out of a lecture.
In a way.
That's fine. A friend said he found Edgar, quote, tottering from side to side. And so he took him home, but they had to stop because Edgar tried to fight an editor that he passed in the street.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
I get it.
Of course. It's that swaying drunk is really when you have like the awareness to be like, my balance is gone. And you're like,
I think that was a lot. At home, Virginia locks herself in a room.
How old is she now?
She's maybe early 20s.
Okay.
She's now it's okay.
Well, no, but yes. Now it's like he's ruined her, but now she,
right. She. I mean, if the most tragic person in this whole story is her because she wasted her fucking life with this guy.
Ugh.
If only she just gone with that other cousin who was like, "I'll save you."
Oh yeah,
yeah. So a speaking engagement goes so poorly because he's so fucking shit-faced that he later said it was a hoax. And he just couldn't believe anyone thought that could possibly be real.
Did you think I was really doing that?
Why would I?
Oh my
falling
God.
down? I would never.
Throwing up and putting it in my hat off the ground.
Please.
It was all scripted, every moment of it.
Like I would really shit on stage.
You guys just don't even know what a joke is anymore.
I do. You
Oh,
don't.
good Lord. You really think I got so drunk I crapped in a hat, put it on, and danced around and said, I'm the Prince of Mud? I mean, good Lord. Good Lord.
He said he had wanted to see what it felt like to be publicly hissed. Obviously, no one buys it. Everyone's like, no, dude, everyone knows you're drunk.
I just wanted to feel a hiss.
For once.
Oh, good Lord.
I've never been not liked.
Come on. Yeah, you know me. Popular calm, always liked.
So there's rumors that he's cheating on Virginia.
Oh, boy. I can't wait to find this age.
She's sick. She's basically wasting away at this point. She's TB, just full on. It's taken her. Now, Frances Sargent Osgood is a poet, and Edgar meets her. He complimented her during a lecture in writing about her lecture that he saw, and then he meets her afterwards. She's 34.
Oh, a little old.
She has a very, well, you say that. She has a very childlike appearance and demeanor.
Okay.
Griswold called her personality, quote, almost infantile.
Ugh, this is perfect for him.
When happy, she was once described as, quote, clapping her hands and crowing like a baby.
Oh, Christ.
It's so gross.
Ugh.
Somehow he made it worse than
I know. It's like, ugh, baby is not great.
But Osgood is the most famous woman poet in America.
Okay.
She's married to an older man who is a business guy. He's always away. So she and Edgar start trading flirty poems in the Broadway Journal. And then they also start writing private letters.
Well, the public flirting is strange.
Not good.
No.
No.
And then the private letters, obviously.
No.
I wonder how that works. Are you just mailing those?
The private letters?
Yeah.
Probably. Unless they're in the same town, then maybe you can messenger it. But
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, mostly mail, I would think. In the same town, probably not.
I mean, I guess Virginia's bedridden and her husband's always gone, but still, I would find a little stress with that.
Yeah.
Having to hide letters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're together also. Yeah. So they're in the same town because they're together at salons and parties and parties. They're hanging out together and they're going to parties together and they're always together.
Okay.
People said she watched him with her face upturned in wonder. Well, that's like how you and me. That's like you.
Show me what an upturned face of wonder is. Okay, so that is how I follow you around. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah. A drunk Edgar told a friend he loved her. He begins to pursue her more openly, following as she traveled to different cities, telling her he loved her.
Okay. I'm sure she was into it, but that is annoying.
I don't know. It just feels like it's like extra evil if your wife's dying.
Well, look, he ruined Virginia. Take Virginia out of it. It's still creepy.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's killed this child that he ruined. That's over.
Look,
let's move on from her. That's gone. She's dead.
If your wife's dying, I could see like whatever some people need to emotionally connect with somebody else. Keep it on the down low. That's a down low one. That's
I think
DL.
Physically, hand jobs only.
HJs.
I don't think you can go further than that until she's gone.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna be too judgmental about someone whose wife is dying because I think that's a very I don't know what that's like and that's a tough.
Yes.
Yeah. But the baby stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think we can both agree Newt Gingrich handled it properly.
Thank you. He's happy right now. That's what's sad.
I know. That is the saddest part.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad that they're winning, that they won.
They're happy. It's an obvious public flirtation. Everybody realizes it. Edgar writes glowing reviews of her writing. There are a lot of scandalous whispers in the literary world. Like everyone's fucking talking about this. And then comes Elizabeth Ellett. She is a writer, a serious Christian, and a big fan of Edgar's.
Okay.
She has a reputation for being nosy, malicious. She was accused of stealing another woman's poem, and
plagiarism claims were rampant.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different then because, like, it's the only thing.
Yeah, and I would imagine that that's kind of what I was thinking. Is like, it's like a lot.
There's no copyright, right?
No copyright, but also just, you're reading poetry, you're writing, you're going to have some crossover.
Yeah. So this one was a guest in her house, and then she supposedly stole her poem and published it in her name.
Oh, okay. That's different.
So Elliot goes to visit Virginia.
Okay.
And I think she finds a letter while she's there. But anyway, she reads a letter written to Edgar from Osgood.
Oh, shit.
And Elliot then goes, after that visit, she goes to Osgood and she tells her what she knows because she had found evidence in the house. Osgood freaks out. She tells Edgar she wants all of her letters back.
Osgood tells, oh, wow.
Edgar gives them back. He's furious now. And he warns Elliot. Yeah. He's pissed at Elliot, and he warns Elliot that she needs to be worried about the letters she wrote to him.
Ooh, more letters.
I mean, this is just a fucking mess.
Yeah.
This is the kind of shit that drunks get into.
Right.
Yeah. One of Elliot's brothers threatens Edgar after he said that to her.
Okay.
So he goes to a guy to ask for help. Edgar does. And it's a guy that he'd once accused of plagiarism and not being a good writer. And that guy hated Edgar so much that he had written villains that were basically Edgar in his works.
Okay.
So that's the guy he goes to for help.
Yep.
And he asks for a gun. He goes, I need a gun to protect myself.
Why is he going to him?
Because he's not
the only guy he knows with a gun.
He's drunk, I think.
Okay.
I don't think anything's working.
It's a lot harder to get a gun back then.
And the guy's like, no, I'm not going to give you a gun.
I hate you.
And he goes, you should go apologize to Elliot.
I'd rather kill her.
The threat.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So Edgar punches him in the face, and then they get into a fight in the street.
Okay.
Right.
Probably going to show up in one of his works.
A bystander said Edgar was shit-faced.
Okay.
So all this shit that I'm talking about just causes massive gossip.
Right. It is a delicious scandal.
It is. It's a great scandal. And Virginia finds out. On Valentine's Day, she writes Edgar a poem begging for all the rumors to stop. What a great poem.
Yeah. Honestly, you get that, you're like, thank you. Happy Valentine's Day. This is pretty negative, honestly. Oh, gosh.
This is called I Love You. Please, my God, stop fucking around. I'm dying.
Please knock it off.
Edgar has also written a Valentine's poem.
Mine's a little different.
Well, it's for Osgood.
Oh, okay. Great.
So very different.
Yep.
All of this leads to Edgar being ostracized by a lot of his friends.
Okay.
The owners of the Broadway Journal leave. So the guys who have the other 2/3 leave because Edgar's attitude and drinking, he's just a fucking nightmare.
So now he's got to be his own editor for his own paper, basically. That's probably not great.
One called him, quote, a drunken sot and the most purely selfish of human beings.
It's not great.
He had total control now, but he's in debt.
He also, there's no way. It'd be like you being like, you do the dollop. And I'd be like, oh boy. Oh gosh.
He asked for money from friends and from magazine subscribers. He even goes to Griswold.
Hey,
buddy. Remember I call you the C word? Well,
I still hate you, but there's more people I hate more, so you're my pal.
Yeah, let's get him.
She married.
Fuck my wife, right? She's awful.
Excuse me?
Dying and stuff with her face.
Okay.
But I met a new woman. She's like a little baby.
Oh, gross. Stop it.
And
Stop talking.
I need, I came for money.
You came from money?
For money.
Okay,
because
that sounds
I'm writing the Broadway Journal.
Uh-huh.
It's very prestigious.
I thought that was done printing.
Prestigious magazine.
When was the last issue?
I am in charge of
When was the last time there was an issue?
There is an issue every case of whiskey.
Right. Okay. Because it feels like most of us think that publication's done. So
have you met my woman friend? She's a baby.
No. We're not doing that. Nope.
She's a little baby.
Stop that. She's a 34-year-old.
But
no.
She can put on. She can put on.
No.
A diaper.
No. Stop it.
Anyway, can I have some money?
Honestly, a little bit.
Yeah, Griswold ends up giving him $25.
I knew it.
It's crazy.
Well, it's like a shut the fuck up fee.
Yeah, probably. So Edgar finally found someone to buy the journal and keep him on as sole editor.
This guy?
I don't know, but after a few weeks, Edgar was fired for being drunk.
Okay.
And so takes the family, leaves New York in 1846 to get away from all the scandal, get Virginia into a healthier environment. So he rents a rural property near the Bronx River.
Nice.
Well, back then it was a healthy environment, but now absolutely not.
Yeah, no, you get bronchitis. I also love that he thinks that these problems are location based.
Yeah, well, that's called. Do we talk about this? That's called pulling a geography by alcoholics, where you have all these issues, and you're like, man, I got to get away from all this shit, and you move, and then you realize, and then it starts happening somewhere else, and it's because, oh, you're the problem.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in many things, and that whenever you hear about that, you're like, I feel like you can do that here. Like I have friends who are like, writers who are like, I gotta go to like the cabin. You're like, it's not fucking.
You can do it.
Do it at home.
Yeah. So his mental health is not great. There are rumors that he is now insane.
Fucking finally.
One friend reported his, quote, mental derangement, and another said he had brain fever.
Good one.
I love brain fever.
That's a good one. That's a good way of putting it. Added so much whiskey, I have brain fever.
Wasn't that an ABBA song?
Brain fever. Yeah, I think that was a Bee Gees album.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday Night Brain Fever.
Edgar turned down speaking engagements, citing ill health, and he complained of, quote, being ground into the dust with poverty. Now, that's true. Look, I think the poverty stuff, you really have to give it a lot of weight. Like that fucks you up being that poor. It fucks you up.
Well, he's successful and poor.
Yeah, which is probably worse than just being poor.
I would think that it would give you more of an edge.
Yeah. So he's now finding it difficult to write, although he did write some making fun of New York's literary figures.
How long until he writes The Raven 2? Starts sequeling your shit.
Oh my God. If it was like, they probably didn't do that then, but if he.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah. The Raven 9.
Okay.
Oh, nevermore.
The Raven was at the window rapping away, saying, I'm getting a little too old for this shit.
The Raven needs money, goddammit, nevermore.
The Raven had a monocle now. Foil was his friend.
So he starts going after, he does write some about New York's literary figures, but he's just making fun of their looks. Like now he's gone after people's looks.
It's petty.
People love it though. People fucking love
petty.
it. And the magazines are selling out. He made fun of women's lips, a woman's lips. He made fun of another woman's ugly nose. He said, a guy, quote, he is noticeable for nothing in the world except for the markedness by which he is noticeable for nothing.
Wow. That is hurtful.
That is so good.
That is hurtful.
That is really good.
It's a little Brendan Schaub.
But other writers didn't ignore his insults like Longfellow did. An editor said Edgar had, quote, fewer angles than a pumpkin.
Well, I don't know. Not a carved one, I guess.
He published a description of him as 39 years old, 5'1", with watery gray eyes, a tongue too big for his mouth, and a pointed chin that, with his broad forehead, made his head look like a balloon.
Oh my God. That is hurtful. A balloon head and a tongue too big for his mouth.
I mean, the fun thing about this is we don't really get this today, but when people can write and they're fighting, it's pretty fucking great.
It is good.
Yeah.
There was a picture of him on the first ep, right?
Yeah, and some people said it looked like you, and some people said it looked like a combination of us.
That was hurtful. Now that I know how he feels, that was hurtful.
Yeah, people are mean
because he's not great looking,
and
I am fantastic looking.
Other writers didn't. Oh, I already said that. So this particular description really embarrasses Edgar, and then he asks his editor friends to publish a more accurate description. So all of a sudden, these other places are like,
So
no, he's
weird.
5'8", 33, and quite handsome. Like he
my
told them what to
eyes
write.
are dry, and my head is not like a big balloon.
Steel blue gaze.
Yes, perfect, sexy Shakespeare.
The guy Edgar got into the fist fight with in the street after he asked him for help.
Yeah.
He writes of all the times that Edgar asked him for money. And he said he beat him in the fight, that Edgar was drunk when he canceled all of his lecture tours, and that Edgar plagiarized many writers, including his uncle.
Oh, wow.
So this
makes me think there is plagiarism.
Yeah,
because
probably.
everything he's saying is true.
Yeah, well, maybe. So it's so brutal that some places refuse to publish it. They're like, this is actually a little bit too much.
Okay.
Griswold said he'd have, quote, sooner cut off my hand than used it to write such an ungentlemanly card, even though every word were true.
Oh, wow.
Edgar wrote to people in Philadelphia to get details of any fights the guy had ever lost. What if Trump was a writer?
Truly.
Really?
It's
Really?
It's like it's beneath him.
Yeah. Way.
But it's what he does.
Yeah.
This is all kind of beneath him.
So he challenges, the guy challenged Edgar. He said, well, sue me for slander then, if none of it's true. So Edgar doesn't, and he wins $320.
Edgar does.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. That's tough.
So the guy was, so he probably did not plagiarize,
Right.
I would imagine. And then also, I guess
He
some of that
didn't
stuff's
beat
not
him in
true.
the fight or
Also, his
whatever.
head doesn't look like a balloon or whatever.
Well, he's got as many angles as a pumpkin.
So Virginia's really in bad shape now. She's got a fever most of the time.
Him shielding her from what he's out there doing, like, how was it today?
How was poetry
Yeah.
today?
Good, wrote some great stuff. Nobody's angry at me. Stayed totally sober. By the way, I'm going to go to court for the next couple weeks, but this is over some guy's horse kicked me.
Yeah.
So I got to get to court over that. But
Yeah.
everything outside is going really good.
Wonderful. Well, she's like on a straw mattress on the floor using one of his old coats as a blanket.
Surely
That's really what's
he could get a little more than that.
Well, okay, so part of the thing about, because we've all heard this a million times, that he drank away the money. Like
right.
I mean, it is costly to drink.
Sure, yes.
So for sure, he's spending some of that money that he could to buy her a blanket.
I don't understand. Yeah, I mean, honestly, can we afford more straw? I mean, we live in a fucking barn.
Well, they got their cat to sit on her chest to help warm her.
Ooh, boy. As a guy whose cat is on his chest all the time, that's not going to pay the bills.
The Dollop is brought to you by Rocket Money, which you don't know. You don't know what it is. So I'm
Never
going to tell
heard
you.
of it.
I'm going to tell you right now. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your
What?
savings.
I thought it was just what you called it when Jeff Bezos was in one of his spaceships.
No, Gareth, this is helpful and good. It's pretty great. I used it to cancel some subscriptions, particularly stuff that my kid subscribed to that I didn't know about, because who can check your 90 statements?
90-year-old son. Oh.
And so he canceled his little jobs there. I had a toothbrush situation that was subscription. That's just it. You're subscribing to so much stuff. Toothbrush, okay, that's out. I no longer have a toothbrush subscription. And then the Rocket Money also refinanced my
existence. You said
my internet, and got me a much better deal on my internet.
Yeah,
so it's great. It saves you a ton of money.
I'd like to throw my hat in the ring to compete on how do we lower that cost. I'm not trying to. I love Rocket Money, and everything I hear is great, but I would love to get involved and sort of get my
You're
hands
not
dirty.
involved. I have Rocket Money. I don't need you. Thank you. Rocket Money has over 500 million users. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/dollop today. That's rocketmoney.com/dollop. Rocketmoney.com/dollop.
Dollop. Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Gareth says
Now that
yes.
I know what it is, very intrigued.
But yeah, you didn't before.
I'd
and that's,
still love to get my hands in the wires of your modem.
I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, I don't know anybody who does.
Cut a couple things and
You're
see where we land.
upsetting. Gareth, we are also brought to you by Mint Mobile.
Talk to me, Daddy.
2025 is here. Did you know that at least?
I refuse to recognize it.
And Mint Mobile has a resolution for you. Skip the gym, skip the fad diets, skip the just nonsense resolutions that you're going to forget about by next
I've been
month.
looking to put on
anyway.
some weight. Yeah.
Instead, make a resolution to save some serious cash by making the switch to Mint
Mint
Mobile.
Mobile.
That's right. And right now you can get half off their 3-month unlimited plan, which I did, and it's great. It's way cheaper than all the other ones. It's crazy how much more expensive
They're
it is.
enjoying themselves.
Yeah, they are. And so Mint Mobile saves you a ton of money. It's the same. It's just as good as any other. Like you would think, well, it's cheaper, so it can't be as good. No, it's as good as the other companies. They're right there. There's no.
Plus, you're cahooting it with Ryan Reynolds.
I'm concooting it with the R. It's not bad.
Don't hate that.
So it's great. I was on what do you call it? The pink one.
Drugs. Molly.
No, the phone company, the pink one.
Oh, T-Mobile.
T-Mobile. I was on T-Mobile, and it's as good as T-Mobile. There's literally no difference
Yeah.
between it and T-Mobile.
Yeah. Plus, you're not aligning yourself with Snoop Dogg.
I'm not aligning myself with Snoop Dogg. So it's great. I cannot recommend it enough. You get the data works, the phone works, the texting works.
Yep.
It's everything you want from a phone.
Cheaper.
Cheaper, way cheaper.
And you can bring your phone number.
You can bring your phone number over.
You can use the same phone.
Use the same phone.
I mean, they're laughing at you when
They're
you don't make the
laughing.
switch.
We're
They're
laughing.
Everyone's laughing.
Everyone's laughing
And not laughing with you.
at you.
We're laughing at you.
For
We
not
really
doing-
are having a giggle
not doing Mint Mobile.
at your decision making.
So switch to Mint, and new customers get half off an unlimited plan until February 2nd. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan to get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free. Go to mintmobile.com/dollop. That's mintmobile.com/dollop. A $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
And if your old phone company starts messing around with you, get Rocket Money. They'll cancel that for you. You know what I mean? It's a whole ecosystem we're working with.
Muddy is beside herself. This is just shocking poverty. So some of the public becomes aware and they start getting donations to feed and clothe them.
Man.
So this has got to cause a new level of anger for him, right? Like this is just
embarrassing to him in the
he's-
professional world.
He's thankful to get the money. He does
Yeah,
want. He
and the
does want to take
clothes.
care of Virginia, but he's fucking
Sure.
embarrassed. You know?
Right.
On February 1st, 1847, Virginia dies at 24 years old.
Wow.
Boy, did she have a great life.
What a great-
with her cousin, lover,
Ugh.
teen bride. I mean, then tuberculosis. It's all.
She probably was like, oh, thank God.
At least they didn't have kids.
Well, he had one.
Two kind women from the literary and art scene helped get her a proper burial, and they bought mourning clothes for Edgar to wear.
Can I wear him in the afternoon too?
Well, instead he wore the coat that Virginia used as a blanket to her funeral.
Remind me again, how do you get TB?
It's through the air.
I mean,
It's through the air.
okay.
You can't get it from a coat.
I'd still be careful.
Yeah, but this is also an old coat he didn't use anymore, and then she was using a blanket. So it's an old coat that
Right.
was then used as a blanket, and then he's like, "Oh, I love her," and like wears it to the.
Ugh.
He's so distraught, and he gets very sick himself.
Coat.
He would go into the vault,
The
tomb, the vault, to her burial vault.
Oh no! What is with these? We need to lock
And he would hold her body late at night,
What? We can't have this.
going through the snow without putting his shoes on.
Oh, Christ.
He became so ill that people thought he was dying.
I think he is. We need to come up with a way for these men to not be able to touch the women in the vault.
Gentlemen, we really need to stop trying to have sex with our wives after they're dead.
Absolutely. Once we officially know that they're dead.
Or not being able to show the true affection that we would normally, as a healthy human being, show when they're alive, but only when they're dead.
Here's what we're saying. If your wife's in the vault, you can go in there and cuddle. And
you can? No. No, we're saying don't cuddle.
Yeah, right. Okay, so don't go in there and cuddle. That's a little coupley. What we're saying is, if you got to go in there to kiss a couple more times before saying goodbye, make it a Frenchie.
I don't think we're saying that. I don't think we're saying what we're saying is.
What are we saying? Go ahead.
Once they're in the vault,
you
have to let it go and not go in there.
You don't go in there.
It's time to move on.
And if you're going to go in there, finish the job. Make it a real bang.
I think we need a sidebar, and then we will come back with our talk.
Yes, because I think we're pretty much on the same
page.
We are not on the same page. We're just trying to figure out what the position is.
Do not go into the vault.
Go in there.
Are you going into your dead wife's vault?
I absolutely am. We're having a baby. All right? Now, that's the rule.
Well,
Only sleep with the dead wife if you're going to do it for a new baby.
We have a problem because your wife and I are also having a baby.
That two-timing corpse.
She is.
I knew she was cheating.
She is cold. You know what I mean?
I do. Freezing, frigid. No, it's like banging a bag of peas.
But like hardened and black and like... Her skin is like the
pustulous.
Yes, it's like the color of my belt buckle. Oh no, that would be silver, wouldn't it?
Hey, it's just good to meet a cock bro.
Don't talk to me anymore.
Wait,
I don't want to be called a cock bro.
All right. So that should clear it up.
So he's hanging with her, but then he starts to get better and. He's got the money from the lawsuit, which helps, and he starts looking for a new wife. It's time to get out there and mingle, right?
Who's not going to want to attach herself to this?
Well, first it was Jan Locke.
Okay.
She's a fan from Massachusetts, and he started riding back and forth with her. But then he goes up, he's on a tour in Massachusetts, and he goes up to visit her.
This is the DMs.
Yeah. And he discovers she's married with 5 kids. So that's kind of a deal breaker.
Not for me. That's a deal maker.
But while he's there, he becomes interested in Jane's friend, Nancy Richmond, who's married, but without all the kids.
Right.
So Jane is now very jealous.
The woman with the 5 kids is jealous of her friend who's also married.
Yes.
Okay.
So he writes to a woman named Helen Whitman, who is a critic.
Okay.
She's in Rhode Island. She's had a crush on Edgar for a while. Who wouldn't? All the stories.
Oh yeah, no, he's got it all.
He's a man's man.
Yep, absolutely.
And she wrote a Valentine's poem about him. So he sends her his famous poem to Helen, which is written about his friend's mom that he was in love with when he was a teenager. Which to me doesn't seem great, especially because she's a critic. So you're sending her a poem about somebody else.
It's weird. It's a weird. It would be
it's
like
lazy.
It would be like okay, someone slides into the DMs, and I'm like, hey, I can't wait to meet you. Here's a clip. here's a clip that did a mill.
Here's a bit that I did about my friend's mom when she's a teenager, but same name.
Here's my NFL commentator bit, but your last name's mentioned in it. What?
Yeah. So she doesn't respond, and then he writes a new poem called Helen.
Okay.
Which describes a dream he had about her.
Okay.
And then he starts asking friends in Rhode Island about details about her, like, what's up with this broad?
This is also what's creepy. This is like he's now he's becoming a guy instead of Edgar Allan Poe, and it's a little sad.
He's on the hunt, and the only thing worse than a drunk married Edgar Allan Poe is an on the hunt drunk Edgar Allan Poe.
As we've learned.
So he somehow comes across his old teenage love. Remember he was engaged. The parents wouldn't let her letters through. She got engaged.
Ingrid or whatever.
Elmira.
Elmira. Okay.
Elmira Royster, he sees her in Richmond. She's now a wealthy widow.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. And her parents are passed.
So many problems can be solved here.
Yeah.
So he's thinking about proposing again, but then
This time in person.
but then Muddy forwards him a letter from Helen, and that has a very flirty poem in it. So he bails and immediately goes to Providence and spends several evenings with Helen. And he would talk shit about Virginia to Helen, saying she wasn't smart enough.
I wonder why.
It's almost like...
I wonder why when you ruin this child's everything.
It's almost like when you take a child bride that they...
I'll be honest, her maturity level was a bit questionable throughout the whole thing. Even though she died at 24 and I began dating her around 12.
So one day he takes Helen on a walk to a cemetery.
Mind if I...
It's time to go visit the crows and bodies.
You want to cuddle a corpse together?
He gets annoyed when she shows him a poem she wrote about her late husband.
Yeah, I don't need to see pictures of your ex, I'll be honest.
In the cemetery. It's all...
I'll be honest, I don't love it either.
But still, despite that, right there, he proposes.
That's an interesting way to handle that.
I was going to do this anyway.
Well, I'm furious. Will you do this with me?
And he later wrote, her words about her late husband were still, quote, ringing in my ears. So it
bothered him.
When he still asked her to marry him, but he was like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
Besides an unmarked grave, he said he had never known love until now.
Oh, Christ.
They're at a graveyard.
Yeah.
She's flustered.
Uh-huh.
She is like, I need time to think.
No.
So he goes back to New York and she promises she'll write him an answer.
Ugh.
She wrote and she explains all of her reservations.
Mm-hmm.
He's older. She has heart problems, which heart problems are so bad that means she can't have sex. It's too dangerous for her.
What?
Yeah, suspicious.
Don't worry. I'll wrap it up real quick.
That's why we got anal.
Don't worry about it. This won't be long.
Don't worry. You're just going to take care of me.
I finish before I get inside. Just you got pretend you will let me.
Edgar wrote back. He's still going for it. None of that dissuaded him. No, he's in. He promises no sexual demands during their marriage, and he's like, I want an actual response, a yes or no.
Wow.
She replies that she's heard things about his character.
Me? I have done nothing wrong over my time as a grown.
And it disturbs her.
What? What would name one thing
was that he had, quote, no principle and no moral sense.
Okay. Yeah, I'll concede
that's
that.
fair.
That's very fair.
I'm a fucking poet.
That's fair.
We live different.
I'm a successful poet who has no money and I sleep with lambs.
Edgar wrote back that that's all wrong and he had many enemies because they were jealous and his dedication to honesty in his critiques.
When are you going to understand everyone's crazy but me?
People come at me.
Good Lord.
I am the right one. Everyone else is wrong.
Do you understand?
Are we going to do this or what?
Come on.
He then goes to Massachusetts to visit Nancy Richmond.
Right. So this is the problem with, she's right to not want to get involved with him because anytime something seems like it's off, he's trying to, get with someone else.
That's right. Now, he tells Nancy he doesn't like her name, and he convinces her to start going by Annie. So
you're much more of an Annie than me.
She starts going, not just with him, but with everybody. She starts saying, I'm Annie now. So she's off her rocker.
Yeah, that's a weird, okay. Oh, I love everything about you. Can you go by Annie? Please.
Okay.
Oh, good.
You're special.
Well, now that that's over, we can really be together, Annie.
Okay.
Annie.
Stop saying it.
My little Annie bear.
I have to go.
What's your favorite part of being called Annie?
The hearing it from you.
Mm-hmm. Let's get that birth certificate.
She and Edgar held hands looking into the fire at night. She's married. Her wealthy husband doesn't notice because he's always away on business, or he just doesn't notice. Poe biographer Kenneth Silverman said, Edgar's interest in Annie, quote, threatened neither adultery nor divorce, being childlike and desperate. He saw her as a caretaking angelic sibling, a replacement for Virginia.
Holy fuck. So he's not even looking for love in the traditional way. He just wants to be taken care of, or he wants to be.
Yeah, it seems like he's asexual. And he wants someone to love him, but
he wants like a sister, daughter, mother.
Maybe he can't handle physical contact because of all the trauma. Like, he's really fucked up.
Yeah, right.
He's fucked up.
Well, you said in the first one that there's rumors he's impotent.
Yeah. He was drawn primarily.
We should exhume him and try to figure it out.
I agree. Or just hold him. Like, finally give it to him.
Yeah.
The love he needs.
We took Edgar out of the ground and got him hard. So that can be put to bed.
He was drawn primarily to married women or women he could never have.
Mm-hmm.
He's maybe repulsed or scared by the sex in marriage. Yeah, so think about it. All these women are a ways away. They're not in New York. They're all a distant. The one he does have in New York is like a baby.
I have a friend who is attracted to those complicated situations.
Yeah.
Likes that, where it's like
because
she's taken or she's looking or they're on the rocks or something. Like, he likes that.
Yeah. Before leaving Richmond, he made Annie promise she'd visit him the day he was on his deathbed.
Cool.
That's exactly what I do with my wife.
Yep.
So I'm going to take off now.
All right. See you later, honey.
When I am dying and
what's
on
up?
the bed, what? Deathbed, I want you to come say hello.
Okay.
Just say hi.
I don't.
Say yes.
On
my deathbed, just say you'll come.
I will visit you when you're dying.
Thank you. It's going to be really soon.
There's a great time until. Yeah.
He then went straight to Rhode Island to see Helen, but spent the night weeping in his hotel room instead.
I love those nights. If I have an off night on the road, that's normally what I'm doing. I do laundry and just have a real weep.
Definitely not drinking.
No.
That's definitely a sober move.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
The next day, he bought 2 ounces of laudanum and took a train to Boston, and he wrote to Annie saying he'd be on his deathbed soon.
Don't worry, you can come say bye soon.
We're almost at the bye part.
I'm on a lot of laudanum and on a lot of Amtrak.
So he takes 1 of the 2 ounces of laudanum.
Fuck.
This is like 30 doses of morphine.
Oh my God.
That's a lot.
He's gone.
And then the plan was to swallow the rest when Annie got there.
Oh, he really wants to go.
Yeah, he wants with her there.
This is a genuine attempt at ending.
Yeah, he's trying to invite to permanently scar a woman to his end.
I mean,
so here's a flaw in the plan.
I didn't know it was going to happen next week.
He takes the ounce of laudanum and he's got a letter that he's going to mail to tell her to come.
He's too
or
fucked
sent,
up.
or it must be sent by, because how could it?
Yeah.
So he's got a letter that he's going to send to her, but he miscalculated the dose. He doesn't know how strong it is. He can't mail the letter. So over 2 days, he experienced, quote, horrors in getting the drug out of his system, but he does survive.
Wow.
I mean, it seemed like a great plan.
You mail the letter, then you take the ounce.
Yes. He goes back to Rhode Island, and Helen agrees to meet with him. And he asks her to marry him again and then, come live in New York with him. She doesn't answer.
No, nor should she.
The next day, he calls upon her again at her home. She said friends told her that a marriage with him was full of evil portents.
Oh, my gosh. First of all, what is portents?
I don't know what that word means. Secondly,
I'm
not actually a raven.
I'm full of good portents.
Yes.
For the record.
Happy man.
Great portents. Oh, my Lord.
She had read letters.
I am so sick of your friends crapping on my portents.
Really? Seriously.
I have some of the best portents.
I am
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She had read letters describing his poor character. So Edgar leaves. He's very sad.
And now he goes to some other woman.
He spends the night at his hotel bar and writes a farewell letter to Helen, saying if they met again, they would do so as strangers. Fuck off, woman. How dare you? He included a lock of his hair. Also this. Also, here's part of my body.
Like, even if you're making a good point, then to be like, and also, in closing, I've attached some hair.
The next morning, Helen finds him in her home.
Oh, my God.
Screaming.
Oh, my God. I want my hair back.
He's screaming that he needs her to save him.
Oh, my God.
Which is a great sign.
My God.
Ladies, this is what you want.
Oh, my God.
It scares her.
What part of it to her wasn't great?
I don't know. She said she'd never heard anything so awful in her life.
My God.
But this is a guy who's passionate about you.
No, listen. I know he has weird ways of showing it, but this guy's super into you.
She hides in her room for 2 hours as her mom and sister yell at Edgar to get out.
Oh, fuck.
Finally, she comes down after 2 hours. He's screaming for 2 hours. And Edgar says she is an angel.
Hi, honey. What'd you hear?
And she says she would now be deciding his fate.
He says that.
Yeah.
Right.
This is great. This is how you get a lady. You say, I'm going to kill myself unless you come with me.
Yeah.
He clings to her so tightly that he ripped the cloth off her dress.
Oh, dear. Have I overhugged again? Oh, gosh.
I guess it's a crime.
I'm sorry that I took the cloth off with my love.
Too huggy? Too much love for you? They call a doctor. A doctor's
like, so what the fuck? No, I think you need the cops.
God, I like the Raven, but now I kind of get it more.
Hello, doctor.
He says Edgar has cerebral congestion.
That's right. My back's stuffy.
He's taken a rest and he regains his senses days later. So he is in
a good place mentally.
It could be because now we've added laudanum in, but
not a great addition.
Yeah, this guy's a mess. And still, Helen and Edgar do not end their courtship.
Oh my God. Would you even call it that?
I don't know what it is. It's abuse. But she's...
like the next day, just be like, well, thank God that's over. Well, we're not broken up.
Not completely done.
I'm not going to shut the door yet.
There's still some good
He's
things.
a pretty good man. Plus, I want to get that cloth back.
I love his balloon head.
Oh, gosh.
Helen consented to a conditional engagement.
That's not good. That's what an engagement is.
He has to stop drinking.
No.
And her mom has to give a consent to the marriage. Now it's on the mom.
Well, it's also
she's put it on the mom.
He's going to say that he'll stop.
Yeah. But he's still got to convince the mom. And the mom hopefully is just like, absolutely not.
I don't know.
So he goes to New York. He's conditionally engaged now.
It's like a third of a ring on.
Then someone sent more rumors to Helen, and her mom went into a, quote, frenzy of hatred for Edgar. So whatever.
That's not good.
He's made so many enemies that people are now
yeah. But it's also not good that doesn't sound like she's going to consent.
Well, also, the other thing about this is as soon as she said yes, Edgar is kind of over it.
That happens too.
And he writes a love letter to Annie.
Ugh.
So now he's writing both Annie and Helen, trying to get Annie excited for when they could live together or near each other without being married or even giving up her husband, just being around each other.
The idea that Helen has lowered her standards to this level and is like, I will, and then he's like, the old ball and chain. You know how women are. They get attached so easy. Am I right, bros?
Ladies. To Helen, he writes,
can't live with them, can't mail a letter to tell them to come visit you on your deathbed when you're halfway through your laudanum OD.
He's still into marrying her and to ignore the rumors she's hearing. And he made steps to marry Helen. And he keeps visiting her. He's telling others that the marriage will never take place. So he's going there. He's planning planning the wedding, going forward with the wedding. And the whole time he's like, never going to, that's not happening. This one, come on.
She's all about it.
She's making preparations to move into Edgar's home.
Ugh.
He visits on a Saturday and they agree to get married on a Monday. I don't know what happened with the mom here, but there's no way the mom was
No, that probably got dropped.
So Edgar sends a public notice to the papers, an announcement.
We are getting married, but I'm not excited about it.
He's writing in 2 different papers.
Yeah, right.
I'm getting married to a beautiful woman. This shrew.
She won't leave me alone.
Oh God, it's just this is okay. So he sends notice to papers, but during that weekend, so Saturday they agree they're going to marry on Monday, but during the weekend, someone gives Helen another note attacking Edgar. She's getting these letters now from all over the place. Like they're coming from everywhere. Helen confronts Edgar, not at all moved by his pleading. She soaks a handkerchief. She soaked a handkerchief in ether and put it to her mouth and said, "I love you." Then passed out on the couch.
She did that to herself?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was an option.
She was like...
She's like self-chloroformed?
Yeah. So she's not in the greatest mental state either.
Bye. I'm going to go nappies now.
So now the mother throws Edgar out and the marriage is off.
Okay. And I'm sure he's really upset about this marriage he didn't actually want to have.
He keeps writing love letters to Annie, calling her the only woman in the world who understood him.
Oh, she's like, I don't understand you.
But she's upset by the broken engagement news, and her husband more so. So they're like, what the fuck is up with this guy? The husband is not even paying attention.
He doesn't know he's being cheated on, basically.
But he's not being cheated.
Whatever you call it, emotionally friended.
He's also annoyed by all the letters that Edgar is sending to Annie. So Annie breaks off their friendship, and she says she's heard about his drinking. So now he's been broken up by 2 women
who want nothing to do with him, who he's sort of in love with, but also not.
So what are you doing this? Okay.
Rehab.
So, what you do is you go to you go to Helen, and you ask Helen to write to Annie.
What the fuck?
And say, I've done nothing wrong.
What the fuck?
How you...
So I've been cheating on you. Will you tell the mistress that I'm actually way better than she thinks? What the fuck is he doing? He's out of control.
So good. For some reason, Helen didn't do that.
She was like, no,
that's a bad idea. What?
No. But I've been like seeing her kind of the whole time with you. And I've been telling her, I've been lamenting you to her. Will you write her a letter and tell her and her husband that I'm normal?
Help a bro out.
Good Lord.
Now, Edgar blames the women of the literary community for his situation. So he's decided that all the letters that the women are getting
They're trying to cancel me.
Other women.
They're coming to cancel me. I'm getting canceled.
So now his writing suffers. He wrote some well-known works like Annabel Lee and the Bells, but also passed off old pieces as new ones. He even stole work from other writers.
Finally.
He reviewed other authors again.
This one's called The Crow.
He's double reviewing things.
Yeah.
He falls ill. He blames it on his depression. Quote, nothing cheers me or comforts me. My life seems wasted. The future looks a dreary blank.
Yeah, totally.
Muddy tries to help him, but she's also depressed and wish they were, quote, both in our graves.
That's not who you want your sponsor to be.
Ben, 21-year-old writer and a huge fan, Edward Howard Norton Patterson offers to fund Edgar's magazine vision.
Oh, God.
So remember that was this guy? That was from the first. Remember, that was from the first.
Yeah,
part.
He was
trying to get his own magazine going.
Yeah, he changed the name.
Getting funding, getting money, and then not starting it.
Yeah.
So this guy rolls in and he's like, I will fund you. You're the best.
I am the best. By the way, this is the worst decision you've ever made.
Edgar would have total editorial control. They'd split the profits. So Edgar says...
Called the Players Club.
He would go visit this guy in Illinois. Muddy starts selling everything they own to pay for the trip. Before going west, he's going to do a little... He's going to do a little tour to visit some of the women who had rejected him.
Yeah, kind of like a suck it tour.
But then he becomes sick while he's in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And there's a cholera epidemic there.
Okay.
He tells Muddy he's sick, but he'd actually been taken to prison for public drunkenness.
Okay. So he says that he's kind of cholera-ish, but in reality, he got thrown in the slammer because, he's an out-of-control alcoholic.
Yes. He was seen walking around the city in one shoe, hallucinating. Once random men behind him on the train were talking about murdering him. So he was like, no, that's not true. It was all in his head.
So I had to give him one of my shoes.
Let's kill that poet. Kill the poet. In prison, he hallucinated that the guards forced him to watch them mutilating Muddy. He wrote to her and told her they needed to die together. That's a nice thing to get from your nephew. Dude, stop trying to die around ladies.
I had a dream that they cut you up. We gotta die together.
This whole thing is just finding a woman.
I'm gonna start offering that.
He's just to find a woman to die.
I want to die. I'm looking to die with you. He either wants women to come to his deathbed to talk to him, or he's like, let's die together. Let's pick a date.
I want to scar you one way or the other.
When do you want to die? Maybe July?
He stays with a friend in Philadelphia who was so worried about him he wouldn't give him a razor to shave.
And that's the hero of the story.
Yeah. Eventually he gets it together and he goes to visit Nancy Richmond on July 14th, 1849.
She's got the 5 kids?
She's the friend of
the 5 kids.
5 kids.
Okay.
He turned down friends' invitations to go out because his clothes were so old and worn, and he's a hometown celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
He would often do readings of The Raven. He gave paid lectures. He saw his sister, but was annoyed. She always wanted to hang out.
Jesus Christ.
And he made fun of his sister's clothes.
The guy who can't go out because of his clothes is like, she's real ragged.
But now he's got some money because he started... The hometown is saving him.
I'm going to get 600 waistcoats.
She told a friend, quote, Edgar could never love me as much as I do him because he is so far above me.
Wow.
So this Patterson guy, the guy who wants to fund the magazine, gives him $50 to get it going. The stylist is going to get it going. He goes to Elmira and proposes.
Which one's Elmira?
The one he was engaged to when he was a teen, and then the parents.
Oh, right. Okay.
This is his teen love.
Intercepted, right.
Widow.
Yep. Rich widow.
He proposes and she laughs.
Is that good?
I don't think so.
No.
But he keeps going back and reading poetry to her. And breaking her down.
Yeah.
He weared her down. He worked her, and after a bit, she begins to take him very seriously as a suitor.
That is a foolish mistake.
She admitted she was extremely jealous when she'd seen him with Virginia.
Okay.
Her kids, for some reason, don't like Edgar.
What do you think it is?
I don't know.
Because he has it all.
He has everything.
He's together. He's handsome.
Artist.
He's sober. He's creative.
Yep.
He takes a lot of laudanum and ends up in jail, seeing people in his life mutilated.
These are all good things.
He wants to die with her
soon. All good things.
He's about to start a magazine that I'm sure won't get off the ground.
Be fine. Edgar joined the Sons of Temperance Society, vowing to never drink alcohol again.
Oh, this fucking guy.
Though he'd already gotten drunk twice when in Richmond visiting.
Right.
Almost dying one time.
Sure.
Edgar wrote to Muddy that he'd bought a wedding ring for Elmira, but said if they married, he'd need to, quote, be somewhere where I can see Annie. I want to live near Annie.
So he really has it. I don't know. Like, it's really weird to be trying to lock women into your nightmare and also already before the relationship's off the ground, really. It's weird. That's
weird.
Like crazy.
Yeah. He then wished Annie's husband was dead. He also told Muddy all was going well with his wedding plans.
If Annie's husband died, that would be great. Also, this wedding is going to be awesome.
I mean, he the one thing I'm leaving out, he was charming, so that's why a lot of this is happening, because that's
hard to believe.
I know it is, but there's a charm to him. So, in his next letter, he said, quote, my heart sinks at the idea of this marriage.
What the fuck is he doing?
He's marrying her for money.
He is, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
He's got to be.
But he liked her a long time ago. It's more than that, probably. He's just his brain is toast.
Yeah. So so then Elmira writes to Muddy, Edgar asked her to say she looked forward to one day being family. And then he goes to visit New York on September 27th. And he writes that he and Elmira had reached a, quote, partial understanding and hoped to marry her when he returned.
Okay.
So that day, a printer named Joseph Walker found Edgar in a Baltimore tavern, incredibly drunk, barely conscious. And Edgar mumbles that he knew an editor named Snodgrass. So this guy, Walker, he's in the business. So he recognizes, this famous guy. And Edgar's like, I know a guy named Snodgrass. And Walker's like, I work for Snodgrass.
You shut the fuck up. You don't know me.
I didn't say I did.
You did too when you first walked in here.
I said I knew Snodgrass. I work for Snodgrass. I know him.
I know a man named Snodgrass. That's a small little town you're living in. What's your name? What is your name, please?
Is my name Police?
So you're a cop, are you?
No.
Wait, who sends you Snodgrass?
I'm not.
Come here.
Are you touching me? I don't want you to touch me.
I want to marry you.
What?
Okay.
That's not legal. We're guys.
Who sends you, please?
What?
Who sent you?
No, I just came in because I saw.
How did you know that I was in here the whole time?
I didn't. I came in here to drink.
I came in here to drink.
Yeah, it's a saloon.
Oh my God. That is so crazy.
It's not.
We should meant to meet my friend named Snodgrass for you. You're going to like this guy. You're a hell of a guy. I want you to be the best man at my wedding, but I can't get tied down. I love Annie too much.
Okay.
We should kill her husband.
I'm going to kill myself.
Then do it with me together tonight. Snodgrass, you and me, Snodgrass. The charm is fine.
It's not.
And to go like a Blair boy.
Nope. Get away from me.
With a little like a Blair. Who are you?
So the guy calls Snodgrass. He finds Edgar slouched in a chair with a, quote, vacant stupidity look. He's in dirty clothes that don't fit, and they are not his clothes, obviously.
I got these. I got these off a boy.
They get Edgar's uncle to come down. They're estranged. And the uncle doesn't help him. He just calls for a carriage to take Edgar to the hospital.
Oh, my God.
So Edgar has no idea where he was. He spent the night drenched in sweat, delirious, hallucinating, and talking to imaginary objects on the walls.
They're not even on the walls.
Hello.
That clock was very important to my recovery. There's no clock there.
The next day, the doctor suggested Edgar could be cared for by his friends, and Edgar replied, quote, the best thing his best friend could do would be to blow his brains out with a pistol.
This guy is asking to leave.
And he goes back into delirium.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to dip back into my psychosis.
Screaming and yelling again.
I'm going to go back down the lava tube and shout at the devil for a little while. I'll be back for macaroni in a bit.
Okay. They straight him to the bed. He's just ranting. He calmed down a bit. Then he said, Lord, help my poor soul, and died.
Oh, wow. Great last words. We talk about it on the show.
40 years old.
Great. 4? He
40,
lived.
40.
I was going to say for a 4-year-old.
4-year-old. Yeah, 4.
4 years old. He really packed it in.
His death has been widely speculated on then and now. Alcohol poisoning, syphilis, mercury poisoning, rabies, suicide.
Rabies is a great contestant.
Some think he was the victim of cooping.
Cooping?
Now, we've talked about cooping before. Cooping is when gangs working for a politician kidnap someone, get him very drunk, and force them to vote over and over again. Because it was an election day, and he was found near a polling place.
I don't buy the cooping.
Yeah, well,
he was self-cooping.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like this guy.
That was just convenient.
Like, how much longer was he going to live the way he was?
He was getting drunk all the time. Every day was election day. Cooping is doing him a lot of favors by being like, we think some people got him drunk. It's like, are their names Edgar Allan and Poe?
So there's no definitive answer for how he died. So people have all kinds of theories. His funeral was the next day, paid for by estranged family, friends, and acquaintances. Only 8 people attended the 3-minute-long service.
Well, that guy was like, I have a 12:45. All right, look, this guy was drunk a bunch, and we're all really here. Pretty wreaths. Anyone want to say anything? No? Maybe we start the lowering. Hallelujah, he has gone. Hallelujah, he
all right, let's go.
Gone. All right, thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Bye.
Muddy and Elmira had not been told of his death yet. Muddy was overcome with grief. She went to stay with Edgar's beloved Annie for a while.
She's like
what in the
I actually tried to get him out of my life repeatedly. My husband's freaked out. I know you two loved each other. He spoke of you so often.
Muddy just wants to survive, right? She's like just poor.
Yeah.
Muddy would bounce around friends' houses for a while, often annoying them or overstaying her welcome until she died in a home for poor women. She had signed power of attorney to Rufus Griswold, who Edgar had chosen to be his literary executor when they were on good terms.
Wow. So he hadn't changed the paperwork in a while.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah. Griswold published his obituary. It began, quote, Edgar Allan Poe is dead. He died in Baltimore the day before yesterday. This announcement will startle many, but few will be grieved by it.
Wow. What the fuck? You got to pretend. Eulogy is where you pretend.
He obituary slandered Edgar.
You got to pretend. Yeah, obituary. That's where you pretend.
No, he accused him of not only being a drug addict, but being dishonest, distrustful, a paranoid man who often walked the streets mumbling. Griswold then published a biography of Edgar saying he was expelled from university for gambling and he was a hysterical drunk with no friends. Many who knew Edgar strongly disagreed with Griswold's biography, but that became best known and the image most people have of Edgar Allan Poe today. Friend and editor George Lippard published his own obituary, quote, as an author, his name will live while 3/4 of the bastard critics and mongrel authors of the present day go down to nothingness and night.
That's how you do it.
And the men that now spit on his grave by way of retaliation for some injury which they imagine they received from Poe living will do well to remember that it is only an idiot or coward who strikes the cold forehead of a corpse.
I mean, it seems like a lot of the guys in the story loved a cold forehead of a corpse.
Yeah, artists.
What a crazy little life that is.
Right?
Yeah, that's crazy. That is so...
I mean, that's a guy, tortured by everyone dying early, everyone died around him when he was young.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, in that era, like a lot of people died early. It's also that relationship with the dad, with John, his dad, that was good. So brutal. And but even then, that behavior is predetermined in a way that is like, there's combinations of environment that maybe make you turn out like that, but that is incalculably bizarre.
Yeah.
And sad and wild.
And fucked up. And he's fucked up. He's a fucked up weirdo.
Yeah. Tortured artist.
Research done by Brittany Cohen
But at least
Brown.
his legacy is a football team.
That's right.
That's pretty cool.
I didn't think about that, but yeah.
That had a murderer on it.
Yeah. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Because he died in Baltimore.
Yep.
So they were like,
why not?
Some owner was like, hey, drunk lunatic who wanted to kiss corpses and marry a bunch of ladies.
Still better than the Commanders.
Well, yeah. By the way, the fact that they're a game away from the Super Bowl and Dan Snyder didn't want to sell that team is just, oh.
They're probably going to win it all. Brittany Cohen Brown did all the research.
Thank you, Brittany.
Edgar Allan Poe sources. Edgar Allan Poe, A Mournful and Never-Ending Remembrance by Kenneth Silverman. A Mystery of Mysteries, The Death and Life of Edgar Allan Poe by Mark Dawidziak. Edgar Allan Poe, His Life and Legacy by Jeffrey Myers, and Quoth Raven, More by Molly Langmuir, which was in New York Magazine. Ta-da!
Boy, oh boy, that is absolutely wild. What a drunk. Alcohol really can do some fucking damage.
It's not great.
It's weird. It's like the desire to drink kind of starts to vacate you a little bit as you get older and older.
Yes.
But if it doesn't, those people who hang on, you're like, wow, that is...
It's it's considered a progressive disease.
And it really can make you psychotic.
Yeah.
I mean...
You can fuck you up.
When your dad and I were drinking on that last day...
Wait.
It was really crazy to see what he was talking about.
The last
day? He loved
day?
you. Yeah, his last day of drinking together. He really... Well, first of all, things turned a little nasty later that night.
It's really hard to do a podcast. I mean, I'm locked in business-wise with a man who killed my father.
I didn't kill him. I barely knew him. I didn't kill your dad. I loved your dad. but I didn't know him, and I never met him. But that last day was wild.